I'd been remarried about 2 weeks when I decided I wanted to leave. I was in the park reading Leonora Carrington's short story collection, The Debutante and Other Stories, before work, and I'd got to a paragraph on page 56 that I'd had to reread about 10 times. It was like the lines kept shifting and twitching, fading in and out and being replaced with new lines that would overlay the old ones or flicker over and between the ones on the page. The lines addressed me directly. Emanuela, you should leave your husband. You don't have to stay, Emma. You should free yourself. You've just been brought up to believe marriage is sacred. It's not what you really want, Ella. I shifted my bra strap back under the greyed work polo I wore at the seafood place and looked at the lake so I would have something to focus on while I thought about how I was going to do it. Rob thought I was going to work. I was wearing my polo and black trousers and trainers, so it was fair enough of him to assume so, and I didn't tell him any different. Instead, I picked up the water bottle he'd refilled for me, walked to the end of the road like I always did, and got on the first bus that arrived. I rode it until it reached the end of the line about 50 minutes later, got off and had a look around. There were a few nice-looking houses, big ones, freshly painted white with big driveways. I walked until I came to a parade of shops, a newsagent's, a betting shop, a Thai takeaway, an estate agent, another estate agent, a charity shop. I went in them one by one and asked if there were any rooms or bedsits going above their businesses. They all said no, but on my 5th attempt, the woman in the newsagents came around from behind the counter, maybe nodding or maybe her head was just bobbing on her neck, and she ushered me with her silky, worn-down hand out the back of the shop through a storeroom and out into a yard, unevenly paved and stinking. We crossed the yard to a set of metal stairs, and she led me up them to a brown, sticky door covered in dents, like when you press your thumbnail into soft fruit. Through the door was a large room with a low ceiling, one small window with a broken blind, and through a door that looked like it had been kicked in once, I could see the whitish skin of the shower curtain and a slice of the beige toilet seat hiding in the dark. There were dusty brown carpet tiles on the floor and 3 squares of dark blue linoleum to mark out the kitchen, which was a kettle, a toaster, and a fridge. She had been using it as a break room and office, but she would rent it to me if I wanted it. It smelled damp. There was only a sofa with milky crumbs mashed into it, a glass coffee table with a hairline crack, and a small fake pine dining table with a TV placed on one end. She told me what she wanted for it. I thought about my savings. I could afford the room for about 6 months if I couldn't find work, then all my savings would be gone. Me and Rob had both agreed to try and save a certain amount of money, and then we'd open a joint account together. I liked that having no oven or microwave would make choosing what to have for dinner easier. I could sometimes sleep on the floor or the sofa or even under the table. I could sit opposite the TV while I ate meals. I paid her a month in advance in cash. Luckily, I'd been taking out cash and stashing it away for the last few months, perhaps instinctively. She scrawled something illegible in a piece of glossy receipt roll, which is what she passed me the keys in, like 2 silvery eels in newspaper or a shiny oyster in its crinkly shell. After she showed me the main entrance to use around the corner of the shop, a black front door leading to 3 separate white ones embedded in plasterboard walls, the most scuffed one leading to a narrow carpeted set of stairs up to my second door, I phoned my work standing on the pavement outside and told them I wouldn't be coming back because I was moving away. I walked around the area for a bit. There wasn't much there. I had a boiling, cloudy tea in a greasy spoon, then got the bus home. Rob made us a nice dinner, pork chops and mashed potato, peas and gravy and mustard. We had cheap and sweet Neapolitan ice cream for pudding. Afterwards, I lay on the sofa with my head in his lap, and he stroked my hair while we watched TV. My head would shake whenever he laughed. Thursdays to Sundays, I usually had night shifts. For the next 4 days, I took clothes and other things to my little room far away in the evenings after dinner, getting back to the house at 1 a.m, not greasy or smelling of oil and sweat. I would sit on the sofa in my secret room and watch TV, eating a packet of crisps or reading a book or having a nap or plucking my eyebrows to use up the time and to test out my new life. "Your shirt smells mouldy. The washing machine filter must be blocked again," Rob said on Sunday morning, sniffing the polo I draped over his swivel chair in the office. "Do you want me to give it a quick hand wash so it's ready for tomorrow?" On the Monday I left for my usual lunchtime shift, Rob gave me a long kiss on the cheek and teased me about my lopsided bun, which I'd done in a rush, pinching it and making a honking sound. I went and sat in the park until I knew he would have left to start work at the swimming pool. I went back to the house and filled a rucksack and a holdall with some final stuff and wrote Rob a little note. To Rob, "I won't be coming back. Don't come looking for me. It's for the best. Lots of love, Emmy." I left the note and cash for the next month's rent and bills under the dumpy vase he'd made me in a pottery class a few months ago, and I emailed the good friends I'd made over the last few years to say that I was moving on and wouldn't be in touch again. I left the house and posted the keys through the letterbox. I threw my SIM card in a neighbour's bin as I turned the corner at the end of the road. I went back to my old house about 2 months later. I walked at a regular pace down the road wearing nothing that had belonged to me while I lived with Rob. The curtains were closed and there was a white A4 poster stuck to the living room window. It was a picture of me taken at a friend's barbecue last year with the word "missing" above it and some other words I didn't have time to catch. I wasn't missing. I'd left him the note. I had been clear. Then I noticed that there were similar posters, some fresher than others, on the lampposts up and down the streets around the house. When I'd first noticed the posters in my periphery, I had taken them for missing pet signs. I left immediately. I got a job at a bakery a 20-minute walk away from my little room not long after. I'd got bored of staying inside all the time reading and watching TV, and it could be weirdly and oppressively hot in there sometimes. Most importantly, I needed to stop using up my savings. I got into the rhythm of the job after a few weeks, and I liked the people that worked there, Liz and Mohammed and Greta and Odessa and Dave. One evening about 6 months later, a Saturday night, I didn't want to go back to my room, and I got on the bus and went down to my old road again, and I could hear that someone was having a party. There was music and loud chatting and laughing. It was coming from my old house. I walked by very slowly on the opposite side of the road and paused to pretend to retie my laceless shoes. I thought I could see the back of Rob's head. He had his arms in the air. We'd never had parties when we lived there. He must be doing well. He must be happier now. I got the bus back to my room. A year later, I went back to the house again. It was a bright, sunny day, and I felt enough time had passed that I could be a bit bolder. I must look quite different now after all this time, but I wore the cap and loose-fitting clothes I wore to the bakery just in case. I walked past the house and saw that the walls in the living room were salmon pink, and there were pictures on the wall. Robin must have moved away, I thought. I started walking back down the street when someone came out of the house. It was Rob and a woman and a Labrador on a leash he was holding on to. They were laughing, and Rob lifted the woman into the air and kissed her while the dog jumped and barked. It felt like the beginning of a new relationship. Maybe I was witnessing the very moment he had found someone else. He had never said he'd wanted a dog when we were together, or that he preferred brown hair. I got back on the bus and never went back to the old house again. 4 years went by, and my little room didn't change that much. I referred to it as my nest. A couple of friends from work and from the local book group I went to visited it, and they seemed surprised or even shocked that I lived there, but I liked it. When summer was coming to my little part of the world, I started thinking a lot about swimming. I hadn't been since I could get a discount at the pool Rob worked at. I'd always liked that pool. I went to the newest clothes shop on the parade for older ladies and bought a modest turquoise and midnight striped one-piece and went to the big leisure centre 2 stops away on the train. I had just rinsed myself under the cold jet poolside and was walking past the shallow end when I realised that I was walking straight towards Rob, carrying a small child. We both stopped and looked at each other. The child was looking at the pool and talking to itself, making faces for all the characters in its mind. Rob looked at me for about 30 seconds. "Hello, Rob." He smiled, then frowned, then laughed, then frowned. I was going to ask why, but the police, our friends, the note, the waiting, the hoping, I didn't say anything. Actually, seeing you, I finally understand. Yes, you're looking at me the exact same way, just like you used to. You weren't wholly there, were you? I thought you were over him, way over him, and all that. I really believed it. You were always going to talk yourself out of being happy. I know it's not your fault. I'm not going to do this. I've got to go. At least I know now. Look after yourself. He bowed his head so he wouldn't have to look at me anymore. The child didn't wave goodbye. I didn't watch him walk off. I walked to the deep end, climbed down the metal steps like the ones outside my little room, and lay on the surface of the water. The sound of splashing and screaming echoing around me was overwhelming. I looked up the glass roof and listened to the muffled announcements under the water. It sounded like, "Emanuela, what have you done? Emanuela, didn't you wonder why?" I might have been crying, or the water might have been running into my eyes, but you wouldn't have been able to tell which. Thank you.